Welcome to the Q&A with the Noble 24th Reenactment Group. Right here we have one of our oldest members, Mick Bodley. We're going to get right into it. Out of all the hobbies, what drew you first to reenacting?
I think the prospect of running around with a bunch of guys like-minded to yourself, dressed in red, firing muskets, I think that was it. Plus a love of history. I think a love of history, especially that period and the world-changing event that it turned out to be. I think to go back to that time is enlightening. I don't think you can live it like you do when you reenact by reading a book. You know, so living it to me is it's pretty humble.
And now, what is it exactly about this world-changing historical event that made you want to do this specifically?
I mean, just look at the monumental undertakings they took and the logistics they faced. You know, for a country like Britain to control a continent 3,000 miles away across an ocean and supply and develop, it's amazing. I mean, there are countries that can't do that within their own borders, let alone travel across an ocean to do it. I think it's one heck of an undertaking. And just to get a grasp of that is almost impossible by reading a book. You know, I mean, I read books all the time on the subject, as we all do, but man, to live it, I think it's eye-opening.
But now, would you consider this reenactment, is it just a hobby or is it also a lifestyle?
Oh yeah, it's a hobby, of course. You know, I think if it became a lifestyle, I'd get locked up. Yeah, it's a hobby.
And now, what is the best thing about doing this hobby then?
I think a good bunch of friends. You know, the discussions we have around a campfire, you'd never have that kind of discussion anywhere else. And some of the things we get into, like mead and other period beverages, punch bowls, I mean, the campfire, camp life. I love it. Sometimes I find myself just sitting on a hill away from the camp a bit at night time and looking at lanterns and listening to music. There ain't nothing like it, and you can't experience it unless you're in the middle of it, you know.
But now, not everything can be that fun all the time. So what would you say is kind of like something that's not quite as fun, you know, like the underside of the hobby that no one likes to talk about?
Well, pouring rain's never good. Knee deep in mud's never good. And 95 degrees running around in a woolen uniform with mosquitoes all over your face, that's not good either. But it's authentic. And that brings us back to the first question.
So why did you decide to join the 24th?
Well, I really, at the time, for a couple of years prior to meeting the 24th, I considered joining a reenacting group for the Civil War. You know, but I always kind of like had a soft point for the Confederacy. And living in Massachusetts, there weren't many Confederate units around, you know, to join. And to be honest, I did inquire about joining a Union outfit, but when they learned that I was English, they had no intent of having me in their group at all, you know. And I understand that. They were an Irish regiment, you know, and we came across the 24th totally by accident. One day, my wife and I were in a small town in Massachusetts called Hadley, and we were there at a greenhouse getting plants and stuff. And I just saw a sign that directed us to a living history camp at some old colonial homestead. And we decided to go and have a look, and lo and behold, it was the 24th. They were there doing a camp, and I got talking to Paul Novotny, told him of my interest in history, and we talked for a while, and he invited me to the next event, he happened to have a complete kit that I could borrow. So we went, and that's where it began.
And now, would you say that that would be your favorite event because of that, or do you have one after that that kind of becomes your favorite?
That was brutal. That was a small event. It was brutal. I remember the heat was horrendous. But no, that was not my favorite. Out of all the years I've been doing this, and to be quite honest, I've forgotten how many years that is. But yeah, the anniversary of the Battle of Saratoga was amazing. The anniversary of Battle Road, Lexington, Concord, that was amazing. But my favorite all-time event, and this may surprise you, was the time we climbed the Palisades and we marched across New Jersey, chasing the Americans and finally catching up with them and doing battle across the bridge. That by far was my most favorite event. I mean, we marched in column with colors flying through towns and villages. It was one heck of a spectacle, and I have never, ever forgotten it. And we've never done it since, much to my regret. And I'd love to do it again, even though I'm not sure if I could actually do it physically because it was wild. But man, I loved it. I did. I really loved that event.
Now, what would be the most favorite reenactment meal that you ever have?
Oh, God, there's so many. Laura's one hell of a cook. Over an open fire. Her breakfasts are usually top line. But I think my favorite is steak and kidney pie that we did at, I think we did it one night at the Battle of Saratoga. We've done it a couple of times at Ticonderoga. Yeah, steak and kidney pie. Done in a Dutch oven. Awesome.
Now, we've talked about what's kind of the bad things about reenacting or the things you don't like so much. But what would you say is a pet peeve? Something that's not quite, breaking your back or anything, but just something that kind of bothers you, makes your eye twitch a little bit.
I can tell you exactly what that is, Grant, and that's climbing that bloody hill at Hubbardton. The original 24th did it once in a lifetime. I've done it at least 45 times in the same uniform. That is my pet peeve. And sometimes we do it 3 times a day.
That
But
is the best answer.
I would never refuse to do it. But that's the one, yep. When we're going to climb the hill. Oh, we're going to do it again. All right, let's do it again. Yeah, that's it. The hill at Hubbardton.
The hill at Hubbardton. Now, the last question on my list here. Being such a long-standing member of the 24th, being such a being so involved in the reenactment community, what's your advice to the bright new and young guys that want to make this hobby their own?
It's not cheap. Yeah, you got to lay that out. It's not cheap. To equip yourself with what you need, it's not cheap. And the good thing about the 24th is they have enough equipment left over for you to try it, just like I did. But if you want to really experience what it's like, as close as you can get without being shot by a musket ball, then the 24th is the place to be.
And as a quick little bonus question, what is your favorite color?
Gotta be red, Grant. Gotta be red.
All right. Well, thank you, Mick, for coming out here and doing this quick little interview with us. If anyone's interested in joining the 24th, you can contact us through all the links in this that will be here on this YouTube channel. Mick, we will see you on the fields.
Hopefully so.